Hello friends, Iron Banana Worm here today to talk about the newest addition to the Iron Banner rotating game modes, which is called Tribute. Now before we talk about Tribute and my thoughts on it, we should talk about how to play it. The premise of the game mode is to collect crests, deposit them in tributaries, and of course the team to beat, or the first team to 125 is the winners. That's the basic principle of it. You get crests from, of course, killing enemies. They will drop the crests at their death location. If they're on an incline, they'll roll down the hill. Pretty much the same things you would expect from Supremacy. But also, unlike Supremacy, your allies will drop crests when they die. And these crests do not, like, there's not a friendly and an enemy. They're all just red crests, right? They all count for the same score. But anyways, you pick them up, you take them to the depository or whatever it's called. There's two of them around the map. Typically one's going to be weighted towards your team spawn. The other one is going to be weighted towards the enemy's team spawn, but sometimes they can spawn kind of at a midway point between both spawns. And the spawns for these tributaries rotate, I believe, every 30 seconds. I think it's every 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, they will move to a new location and kind of have an ever-shifting battlefield, you know, where combat and stuff is going to happen at. Now, of course, since it's Iron Banner, there is a way to activate a hunt mode. The hunt mode is activated by depositing 10 crests at once. So if you kill 3 enemies and you pick up their 3 crests, and and 3 of your teammates die and you pick up their 3 crests, you know, you get up to 10. 10 is the max you can carry, and then you can go deposit those, and that's what will start the hunt. And what's interesting about the hunt in this particular game mode that's unlike any of the other game modes, right? In the hunt is a player activated thing, right? So the hunt can occur as many times as a player can activate, you know, can deposit 10 crests at once, basically, right? That is a super neat feature. But on top of that, unlike, you know, Iron Banner Control, where, you know, your team can triple cap and get a hunt for 30 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Either team can profit off of a hunt, which is a really, really neat and interesting concept. Because let's say, you know, your team deposits, you know, you deposit 10 motes on your team, or 10 crests, sorry, on your team. That starts a hunt, but the enemy team has, you know, 5 people with 5 crests apiece. They can go and deposit all those for a total score of, what is it, 50, I think, right? I think it's 50. At any rate, because during the hunt, crests count as double points. So if you have 10 crests and you deposit in the hunt, it's going to give you 20 points, so on and so forth, which I think is a really neat concept. And that's going to move us into my thoughts on this game mode, because I have had some incredibly fun games today. Like, you know, the background footage you're watching here is my first couple games of Iron Banner. I'm still trying to get used to how to play this game mode and stuff like that, but it is a chaotic game mode. And when I tell you that, you know, you can shift the win to your team or the enemy's team in a blink of an eye, I mean, it's crazy. I was playing a game, I think I was on Hunter, maybe. At any rate, the score was like, our team had 20 and the enemy team had like 60 or 70 points, and the enemy team initiated a hunt. Well, during that hunt, my team popped off and we deposited a bunch of modes, and I mean, we turned around and won the game, 125 to like 90 or something like that. Like, you know, the shift in the scores and stuff like that is tremendous in this game mode, right? And I think that that's a really neat concept to have. You know, like I said, in Control, Iron Banner Control, if you know, your team gets triple capped, you're kind of SOL. You know, you can't do anything about it. You know, in Eruption, it's all about individual performance. You know, if you're performing well as an individual, your team's going to score a lot. But this one is honestly the perfect mixture of independence but also team play, right? Because here's the thing, Iron Banner has always been a game mode about team play, right? Like that's one of the things that Bungie wants to go for. Think about Fortress, you know, you capture flags, you capture the zone, like you have to play as a team. Eruption, they want you to play as a team. Now Eruption doesn't work as well as a team play game, but if you death ball around the map, you know, stick to your allies, stuff like that, you can get those scores going in Eruption, you know. But in this game mode, playing close to your allies is very, very good, because, you know, if you're running around the map together, you know, and you're getting kills, every time a teammate dies, if you've got 2 or 3 other people there with you, you can pick up that dead teammate's crest and that contributes towards your own personal, or I'm sorry, not your own personal, but your team's score, which is really, really cool. So now it's no longer just who can brag out and get the most kills. Like, you have to get kills and you have to bank moats now. And that's an objective-based game modes. I've always very much enjoyed them, because it's a shift from what players are used to in Destiny. What players are used to is the individual performance, right? Hey, I'm gonna go out here and slay out and blah, 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 do all this stuff. But this game mode says, no, like, you can't do that. Now, of course, if you're getting a lot of kills, that's great. But at the same time, if you rack up 10, 15, even 20 kills and you die, you lose all those moats. Like, you lose any snowball that your team potentially had, because the enemy team now can pick up those moats and deposit them. I think I failed to mention that in the rules. If you die, you drop all the crests that you have, and the enemy team can pick them up, or your team can pick them up and score them here. But I think it's such a fun game mode, especially like once I got the hang of it and how it works, because at first I was confused. I was like, wait, why are the the depositories like in different locations, and I couldn't figure out what was triggering the hunt. I didn't read the game rules, to be fair, so that's kind of on me. But once I understood the game mode, I started having a lot of fun with it, because you get situations where you accidentally realize, oh my gosh, like I'm at 8, 9, maybe even 10 moats, and where's the nearest depository? Well, the nearest depository has just spawned at one of these midway points between both teams spawn. It's like, okay, like, do I want to go left? Do I want to go right? I have to pick and choose now. Hopefully I pick the right one. But the team element, like I said, the team element is still there. You should always be close to your team, because if I die with those 10 moats, or 10 crests, sorry, and my team is nearby, they can scoop them up. We can still, start snowballing for the win. And of course, the comeback potential is very, very high, because if we slam 10 moats into a depository, and all of a sudden the enemy team, they're sitting on 10 moats, 2 or 3 people on their team have 10 moats, and they all deposit, like, that's 60 moats. 3 people is 60 moats during a hunt, or 60 points. Oh my gosh, these words are confusing me. 60 points during a hunt. I think that's such a cool concept. One of the biggest issues that I had with Iron Banner Eruption, of course, was the individual style play and the pace of it, right? You have to be very, very fast. You have 15 seconds in between kills. That sometimes felt like a little bit too long, especially, you get a kill, you activate that eruption timer, that 15-second timer, start running around the map. All of a sudden, nobody's spawning here. You just blow up out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, that kind of is unfortunate, right? Or you're with your team, and all of a sudden your team shots the guy you need to kill, and you don't get a shot off on him, or you don't deal enough damage, and it doesn't count as a kill. It doesn't reset your timer. That's one of those things that's very frustrating. But this game, there's no pressure of a time limit, but there's still a pressure to independently perform well, because you want to be the one to deposit your moats. Like, yeah, like I have my team around. If I die, maybe they can pick up my moats, but at the same time, maybe they don't. Maybe they can't for some reason. So there is that level of tension where it's like, hey, like, I have to perform good. I have to perform well, sorry, but I'm not under a constant time pressure, right? Which I really, really like. And then, with Fortress was a game mode where, you could get snowballed so hard, right? Like, supers, like if you had, bubbles and wells and stuff like that, like the game was basically over. This is not one of those. These tributaries rotating constantly is a big deal. Now, when the hunt spawns, if somebody has a bubble or a well, like, yeah, I guess theoretically they could put it on there, but typically the hunt depository, or whatever you want to call it, is like right there in the open. Like, if you're in a well, you're asking to be shot from multiple angles, you're asking to be super, like, there's certain stipulations to, okay, well, I have a well or I have a bubble and I want to use it right now, right? Plus, with the whole principle of crests dropping, like, yeah, you can throw a well down on the tribute zone, which, sure, that's great. You have control over anybody who wants to come deposit, but if all the enemies are far away from you and you're killing them and their crests are all the way out there, like, it's kind of pointless, and so that, again, that helps to speed the game up, which is one of those things I really, really like. And one of the big differences between Fortress and this new game mode. Now, there are, of course, some, I guess, shortcomings with this game mode, some, I guess, issues, you might say. Deathballing, of course, is pretty prevalent, which I think in Iron Banner, we've kind of come to expect that. Like, Iron Banner is a game mode where teams, like, Saladin wants you to play as a team. That's why they're adding these new game modes to Iron Banner, because they want it to be team-oriented play. With Eruption, you need to be deathballing as a team. You know, now you got to do it effectively, but that's the best way to win. In Fortress, it's the same thing. Like, if you can stick with your team, everybody's team shotting and stuff like that, you're going to win. And in this game, it's no different. Like, you're going to inevitably encounter a bunch of groups of enemy, you know, 2, 3, even 4 enemies. And a lot of times it just feels bad because there's nothing that you can do, right? You get one kill, your red bar, like the next guy just comes in and cleans you up, right? And it almost feels like in a situation in this game mode where, you know, I walk around the corner, I see there's 4 enemies. There's almost not even a point to try to kill an enemy, right? Because if you kill an enemy and then you die, the enemy team is going to get 2 crests. They're going to get yours and their fallen ally. So if you walk around the corner and you see there's 3 people, it's better just turn around and run away and find your team, or just get killed by the enemy team and not fight back because of the way that the crests and scoring works. And that's, you know, that's one of the biggest issues. Outside of that, though, I don't really have any major issues with this game mode. I think that, you know, the constant changing of the tributary depository spawns or whatever is really good. I think that's a really good addition that Bungie has added to this game mode. It keeps things fresh. Like, you know, you might have a hot spot on one area of the map, and then 30 seconds later, it rotates to a whole different area of the map. You know, and in some situations you might find yourself, hey, like, you know, we're doing a good job, we're deathballing here, we're getting lots of score, and the enemy team just switches it up on you because, you know, one person dies, then it shifts the dynamic of the battle. Like, it's every single game is different, and that's what I really like about this. You know, regular control does get boring over time. You know, Fortress is really boring. Eruption is fun because it's chaotic, but chaotic is not always enjoyable, I guess. But this game has the perfect mixture of chaos on top of skill, on top of team play, on top of individual performance. Like, it melds everything together into a really fun, enjoyable game mode. Now, would this be something I would spend hours and hours playing in? Probably not. You know, obviously during Iron Banner weeks I would, because I'm just trying to grind the loots, but I wouldn't say this replaces like the standard control. Again, the deathballing there, it is going to get old after a while. You know, everybody running around together, you know, and your teammates taking your kills from you, and you constantly walking into, you know, groups of 3 or 4 enemies and dying. Like, it is going to get old after a while. But that's also kind of Iron Banner, so I'm not like frustrated or mad about that. Like, that's what we've come to expect from Iron Banner, I guess. But yeah, with that being said, though, I want to hear your thoughts on the new game mode. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Like, you know, have you played it a substantial amount? What are your thoughts on it? I like to read those comments. But yeah, that's it for me. Of course, like the video if you enjoyed it or if it helped you out. Leave a comment telling me about your experiences so far, and do me a favor, watch the videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.